Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another gadget that I think you're going to find really helpful. It's a 5-port switch from a company called Echogear that makes it incredibly easy to expand the number of connections to your home network for under $15. Now, with the ever-expanding universe of smart devices we're all plugging in at home, I am constantly on the lookout for an open network connection on one of my switches. And even though I use Wi-Fi for my cameras and my home automation equipment, every now and then you'll buy a device that needs that high-speed connection and you have to physically plug it into a switch. And the challenge is, even if I find an open port someplace, it's never where I need it. It's down in the basement and I'm trying to plug a smart TV in upstairs in a bedroom. So I was looking for a switch that I could plug in those remote locations that was inexpensive, was really high speed, and just simple to use. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it. Now I know I can go out and buy some expensive switches that are 8-port and they're managed and they're PoE and all those other whiz-bang features, but I didn't really need that for the stuff I was connecting. In a lot of cases, those switches are more expensive than the gear I'm plugging into them. So I wasn't really interested in doing that. And I came across this Echogear switch, and when I saw the price at $15, I thought, there's no way this thing's going to do everything they say it does, but for 15 bucks, I'll take a shot and bring it home. So I bought it a couple of months back. I've been using it ever since, and the thing just works. And I've actually bought 2 more now, one for the kids' room and one for down in the den. And what it does fundamentally, if you're not familiar with networking and you're not a nerd like me, what a switch will do for you, especially a switch like this, is it's almost like you've got an electrical outlet in the wall, and you want to plug 5 things into it. Well, you have to buy one of those power strips where you plug the power strip in, plug everything into the power strip, and that way you can sort of extend what the electricity is doing. That's exactly what this does for your network. But the challenge is, most of the switches like this are pretty complicated to set up. They need configuration steps. Some of the ports are dedicated. You have to have the right type of cable. They're not speed sensing, or they're older styles where they don't do the 1 gig connections. This switch has all that stuff built in. So what I love about it is it's drop dead simple. So the example I'll give you is I brought this home and I was connecting up a TiVo, a Roku player, a media streamer, and a smart TV, and I had 1 cable coming out of the wall for my connection to the network. So I needed something I could expand to plug those 4 devices in. I took this out of the box, plugged in the power supply, plugged in all 5 of those ports, turned everything on, and it just worked. I mean, it's just that simple. Now, some of the features that set this apart from the others include things like the LEDs across the top. Now, that's not something you're going to look at once you get it connected and working. When you first plug in those cables, you want to make sure you have a good cable. All those lights will come on. So there's a power indicator on the one side, and then 4 LEDs that let you know you have valid connections to the ports on the back. Another beautiful feature about this that a lot of the switches are lacking is there are no dedicated upstream ports. And that's important, again, getting nerdy, because a lot of the switches dedicate a port that has to connect upstream to your other switch or your router, and that's between the devices. And you'll typically use a crossover cable for that, which is a different cable than you would normally buy. With this switch, 2 things are important to note. None of these ports are dedicated. You can use any port for the upstream connection, which means you can plug it in anywhere you want. There's no worry about that. The other cool thing about it is it actually senses whether you're plugging in a straight through cable or a crossover cable. And that's really important because that standard is called MDI. It's Media Dependent Interface, I think it is. And there's 2 standards, MDI, MDIX, which is the crossover cable. In the old days, I would have a box of cables in my basement, a big rat's nest of cables. I'd pull out a cable and have to really look at it close to see if it was a crossover or straight through. With this switch, you don't have to worry about it because the switch is smart enough to know that's a straight through cable, I'll make adjustments for it. No, that's a crossover, I'll make adjustments for that. So you can unplug your old switches, plug everything in the back of this, and it's going to figure it out for you. The other thing that's really cool about it is that it's speed sensing. So the newer networks are 1 gig, but your older gear might be 10 meg or 100 meg. This switch knows what that connection is both to the device and the upstream connection, and it'll make adjustments as needed across the ports to give you the fastest connection possible. So they built everything they can inside the switch. One last cool feature, which is something you don't find a lot of them, and it's a small thing, but for me it's a big deal. There are 2 little loops in the back where you can actually bolt this to the wall. So if you've got a TV hanging up high where you got to make a lot of connections to it, couple of screws in the wall, drop this thing down, and it's mounted. It's not hanging down with all those wires showing and everything else. So I like it an awful lot. I think for the best part for me though is, and I can't get over this, it's $15. This power supply alone's got to be $8 or $9. So I don't know how they build this much tech into this product for that kind of price point, but I'm here to tell you it works. I love the fact that it's inexpensive because I'm a cheapskate, and the fact that I can plug it in and not have to worry about it. So I've plugged in 3 of these. Every single time I've said to myself, this probably won't work. I'm going to have to get in there and configure it and figure out all the nonsense that's going on with it. There's nothing to worry about. So the ports are non-blocking, they're speed sensing, they're MDI, MDIX sensing. Everything you need is built into the switch. So I know I'm gushing about it, but I'm just blown away by this technology for $15. I can't get over it. So anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope you found this clip helpful. I love talking about this kind of technology, and I know it's not something I talk about a lot on the channel, but if I'm doing something at home that's nerdy, I know you guys are watching this channel, and let's be honest, you're nerds too. So if I'm finding something I think is cool, I'm going to talk about it on the channel. And if you guys enjoy it, watch the clip, and that's how we're going to play it. So anyway, there's a link below if you want to go check it out on Amazon. They also make an 8-port switch if you need one that's a little bit bigger, so you can look at the two of them. I have both 5-port switch because I didn't need to plug that much stuff in, but anyway, they're down there if you want to check them out. If you have any questions about anything I've covered, drop those in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. I'm going to try and answer all the nerdy questions you have, so if it gets really technical, I'm okay with that. So drop those in the comments below. And the last thing I'll say is, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I have so many more clips coming on drones and other high-tech gear over the next couple of weeks. We just have a bunch of stuff in that I'm going to talk about. So you definitely want to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of those clips, because we love having these conversations and we love the interaction you guys provide on the channel. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. And until next time, stay nerdy.